and so on and so forth. We keen to have at least one value addition industry or micro factory or mini factory in each of our 48 counties. The 48th one, of course, being the diaspora. So without much ado, more importantly, how do we raise 1 trillion shillings into the economy by the year 2030? That's in the next 5 years or so. How do we do that? But Dr. Malcolm will be telling us why should we even be haggling about trillion shillings while we could talk about $1 trillion when we loop in our historical diasporas? So it's at that point, without much ado, Sister Rosemary, thanks for accepting to be here. Sister Gloria, helping. And of course, our sign language interpreter will get us soon on the screen, just to be inclusive, leaving nobody behind in terms of the UN SDGs. So thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Without much ado, I look forward to a fruitful session. Just to add that when we talk of new areas like online trading, cryptos, we know these are waters uncharted. We want to know what other countries doing. Kenya is always at the pioneer forefront, but we want to also do it in a manner that's responsible. And what do you do to make sure that happens? So over to you, Sister Rosemary. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Shem Ochodo. I know you've been very consistent in just trying to coordinate us. I was in another webinar yesterday where, you know, an organization was being launched. I think the Diaspora Organization to take care of Europe. They're calling themselves KDLFI. I just want to acknowledge the president, who is Fred Makosera, a brother of mine. But, you know, and we had quite a number of ambassadors. Of course, people are complaining about this, the reception, how Kenyans are treated abroad, because embassies is the first point of call when you're abroad, when you're in distress, when everything is going, you know, well, and not going well. And sometimes you walk into the embassy. I mean, you know, I think as students, people are encouraged, particularly if you're a student, to register with the embassy, so that they know your whereabouts in case of any distress, in case of any problem. But one of the things that came out, you know, not as a complaint, but I think under the new dispensation and new administration, the welcoming, you know, it's like when you walk into an airline or Kenya Airways or any of those, the first point of contact, when somebody's smiling and, you know, looks positive and what have you, you even start feeling happy. And this brings me to the discussion of today. One of the things, it's been a series that we've been holding. And one of the things that has come across, and people have talked about it, the returnees, those who are still in the diaspora, is that building of trust. You know, Anne Wamboi Gaitha here has been running a series on, you know, how to create wealth. And I would like to hear more with this audience. We have over 70 people, or 86 now, on how is that going? You know, how do you build trust? And when we talk of money, when we talk of funds, the people are fearful. Unajua mambo ya hesabu, nobody wants to touch about it. You know, oh, I'm going to lose my money, all this real estate, this and that. But today, we are talking about money market led by CIB, a global market. We are talking about cryptocurrencies, and we are talking about unit trusts. You know, we hope to hear more about that. Charity Githinji, you and I started off, you know, when you were in Arusha, doing many things, Forex and what have you. But anyway, without much ado, let me also introduce my colleague, Gloria Adhiambo, who is a publicist and media relations specialist based in Nairobi. The guests of today are the keynote speaker, Mr. Victor Marangu, ACIM, ACSI. I actually don't know what that means. I really acknowledge, and he can tell us more about that. He is the head of distribution, global markets, Standard Investment Bank. My brother, Dr. Malcolm Beach, based in Maryland. Where are you now? I think in North Carolina or South Carolina. But anyway, Dr. Beach has been a regular participant, supporter of KDA, and now heading the Africa Diaspora Business Roundtable. They just came from Nigeria, having had a very successful meeting. and of course, Anne Wamboi-Gaither, who is the founder and CEO of the Regal Africa Group. Author Margaret Kimani, who is the managing director of Kabute Global Consulting Group, investment bank, certified financial advisor. The last time we were here with you, you really gave us very good information, nuggets of information on, people should not be fearful. People should just go out there and do it. As Nike said, just do it. So without much ado, let me welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Victor Marango, if you're in the house. Karibu sana, Bwana Marango.
Thank you, Rosemary. Okay, the co-host should allow me to share my screen.
Mr. Victor, you're now the co-host.
Thank you. Yeah. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Seeing clearly.
Thank you. So welcome to this presentation. Greetings to all Kenyans in the diaspora. I believe this is a community, of course, that reminds us the unwavering Kenyan spirit. Okay. Tonight in Kenya, of course, this afternoon in New York, and I guess it's early morning in some of the zones, as indicated earlier. I'm so pleased and delighted to be here to present a unique opportunity for each one of you to contribute to the growth, of course, and of prosperity of this homeland, Kenya. So as we are scattered in the globe, we all have valuable perspectives that combines that global experience. Of course, what underpins all that is the love we have for our country, your success, your hard work, your dedication. Of course, that has transformed you and of course inspired countless. And everyone looks upon Kenyans working in the diaspora. So that's why we feel this is a very unique opportunity to showcase the available investment opportunities that you could take advantage of. I'm happy to hear the various milestones you've made, the various projects Dr. Shemas has alluded to, and your determination to raise $1 trillion, not cash, but also now the ambition to get to $1 trillion US. That will be very great milestone to reach as KDA. And as you understand, you're such a big contributor to the Kenyan economy in terms of the diaspora remittances, which has been on an upward growth trajectory, exponential, if I may. And so today we have a unique opportunity to interact with some of the opportunities you have back in the country. And I'm going to take you through a Standard Investment Bank. So before I proceed, my name is Victor Marango. Rosemary could not understand what is ACIM and ACSI. Those are designations in terms of certifications in the industry. First of all, the marketing industry, that ACIM, Chartered Institute of Marketing, and ACSI is Chartered Institute for Securities and Investments, which of course you have to undertake as part of the continuous professional development to be up to date with what happens in the industry and how to be able to advise accordingly. I hope that is very clear. So welcome to SIB. Standard Investment Bank is one of Kenya's largest indigenous investment banks. We have a huge client base that includes governments, fund managers, corporations, financial institutions, high net worth individuals, and retail investors. And I'm sure that cuts across everyone represented in this forum, either a retail investor or you're in an organized group or you're part of a financial institution. As I noted earlier, that the diaspora right now is about 17 circles, and that's why you would actually come in, and you're going to have that discussion as we move forward. So SIB is a member of NSE, Nairobi Stock Exchange, an agent of CDSC, Central Depository Securities and Settlement Corporation. That's also CASIB, Association of Stockbrokers and Investment Banks. So just to mention our strength as a company, also as well, the value of equities, and of course, Mansa assets. So let's proceed. As I was saying earlier, Standard Investment Bank, one of Kenya's largest indigenous banks. We manage over 25 billion. This figure is an update, over 25 billion value of equities and Mansa X assets, which is one of our investment funds that we manage that operates in the global market space. So these are the milestones that we've made as an investment bank. We started in 1995 as Standard Stocks, became a full-fledged investment bank in the year 2003. And key notable developments there is in the year 2018, when we became a money manager licensee by Capital Markets Authority following the online trade regulations of year 2017 that mandated CMA to license money managers. And we were able to apply for that license and successfully got it. And that's why we started Mansa X Fund. In the year 2022, we launched the dollar fund part of the fund, because the base currency for Mansa X Fund is Kenya shilling, but we now launched the dollar fund to be able to address the need, the market need for having a dollar fund. So as an investment bank, we major in 4 major investment banking activities, ranging from capital markets, advisory, trading and brokerage, and then of course asset management. And in our context, you can see equities, fixed income, corporate finance. When you hear mergers and acquisitions, companies getting to IPO, we're able to do that for companies here. As you're going to see in our client base, you're going to see the kind of business we've been able to do with a number of them. So of course, we have our research team that conducts due diligence to provide insights and clarity on investment opportunities to investors. Of course, and also feed our portfolio management team. And on the retail side, of course, we're able to provide even in day trading briefs, fixed income wraps, weekly equity markets reports, monthly and quarterly reports, and basically focusing on the local markets. So our global markets division, the investment banking division that deals with the global markets, we offer exposure to global financial instruments such as the world's major currencies, precious metals, commodities, global stock indices, and selected single stocks from basically around the world. We are going to look at this more deeply and explore the potential of global markets and why we ventured into global markets. Of course, we also created FX hedging solutions to our corporate clients. So these are some of the clients that we've dealt with in the past from our investment banking division, dealing with listings, valuations, and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you've interacted with one of those institutions listed there. Our latest engagement was with the lab trusts, where we enabled the first pension fund to be able to list a REIT, which is a real estate investment trust. This was done a few weeks ago, and after that, we and Econ, we enabled them to list the first green bond, which is listed at the London Stock Exchange. So basically, that's just to mention a few of the activities that we have engaged in. So I want us to look at why Mansa X, and of course, before I start that, I would want to maybe, if you're holding a pen and a paper, look at where does a typical Kenyan investor put their money, and what are the question then will be, what are the typical returns? So you agree, you find yourself investing in equities. You've bought shares of what we call stocks in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Okay, you've invested in a government bond, for instance. You've invested in real estate to some extent, heavily. Mutual funds. You've invested in unit trusts. You've invested in treasury bills. Invested in fixed deposits. Money market funds, and the question is, what are the typical returns on investments for that? Because this is basically we're looking at one geographical location called Kenya. So yes, you might be well diversified there, and that could be your sector-wise diversification. But how about the geographical diversification? How about taking advantage of more advanced financial markets. And this is where, as an investment bank, through our innovative product development team, we're able to venture into the global markets and look at the investment opportunities in the market that can be taken advantage of and deliver a return on investment that not generally giving the highest return in the market, but of course being able to beat inflation, provide liquidity, and of course capital preservation. So those are some of the things that drove the company to look at this innovative kind of a product. So question would be, what is Mansite? For those who have not heard of Mansite before, those who have never been exposed to this product before, but I'm sure a number have. So Mansite is a multi-asset strategy fund with a long-short trading model that invests in financial instruments, both local and global. And the primary objective is capital growth. So what our fund does is that it stands apart by focusing on global asset classes, allowing us to harness the potential of the diverse markets and economies globally. So this strategic approach ensures that your investments are not confined to a single sector or region, but rather they are diversified across various industries and countries. What that does is it minimizes risk and maximizes potential returns. Okay, so we're going to look at a detailed profile of the fund, and this is where we normally get most of the questions. So you find the minimum investment for this particular fund, which exists both in cash and USD options, is 2,050 Kenya shillings or 2,500 USD. Our minimum top-up is 100,000 or 1,000 USD. A recommended lock-in period of 6 months. We charge you 5% per annum, which we prorate over 365 days. And also there's what we call the performance fee, which is like that 10% above the hurdle rate of 25%. You can see we are quite ambitious on that. And most of the investment funds, we find maybe 100 is like 12% or something like that. We've set our benchmark quite high because we believe in the fund potential while watching the downside risk. So what that essentially means is that if we give you a return, for example, of 26%, whatever is above the 100 is 1%. So that 1% is what we charge 10% on. So don't make the mistake of saying performance fee plus service charge fee, and then you find it is 15%. Then you're like, if I'm losing everything in the fees, doesn't make sense. So please understand that performance fee is just like a performance incentive to the portfolio management team to keep trying and delivering the best for the investors. So as part of the regulations, the regulation of the fund, our custodian is I&M Bank for the Kenya Shilling Fund and National Bank for the USD Fund. If you want to withdraw your fund, it's 2 to 3 working days. No moratoriums issued, or you can't access your fund and all that kind of stuff because of the nature of how we've diversified our fund and it's highly liquid. The fund has experienced tremendous growth over the last 3 years. As at March 31st, we closed as at 13.31 billion Kenya shillings. And we continue to experience tremendous growth based on how we continue to educate the general public and creating awareness about the product, and of course the performance. The performance speaks for itself. So, where does the fund invest then to be able to generate good returns and make it reasonable or make it possible for an investor to consider it as an investment fund that you want to earn in the investment? So if you look at the global markets potential, because you can see the fund invests in local markets and global markets. Of course, we are domiciled in Kenya, and of course our roots are here, but now we are looking at opportunities. I want you to look at Mansite as you Kenyan in the diaspora. You went in the diaspora to look for greener pastures, to bring back home and empower your people back home. So Mansite is your colleague in that sense, in that manner. It's your fellow citizen out there hunting for opportunities to bring back home and generate better returns. So what opportunities did you see? Maybe you saw an opportunity to become a doctor in the US, an accountant, and all the careers represented here. But we went there to look for opportunities. So how big is the global market, and what is the potential? Why is it so important that we consider a fund that invests in global markets? So if you look at the global markets potential, just looking at the various asset classes, for example, if you look at the equities, we'll talk about stocks or shares. The equities market, the global market capitalization stands at about 107 trillion US dollars. If you compare that to just where we are in Kenya, it's less than, it's about 15 to 20 billion US dollars. So look at the potential. And then, of course, in the equities, we deal with single stocks and also stock indices. If you look at the debt market, bonds, the bond market is 3 times bigger than the equities market, because it is about 305 trillion USD. That's how indebted the world is. Okay, the global indebtedness stands at about 305 trillion USD. So is Forex again the most vibrant market, which has a daily turnover of 6.6 trillion US dollars. Okay, and it's the most traded, most liquid, of course, most volatile, which is very important to be able to enter and exit within a short period of time. So you don't have to invest for 3 years in Forex for you to make money. So commodities, the commodities market is quite huge. We are talking about by 2019, it was valued at USD 4091 billion, and it's projected to grow to 5059 by 2026. So the commodities market is also quite huge. It gives us another opportunity to keep diversifying our portfolio. And then we have the derivatives market. There is always, I think, the experts lost count of where we are in terms of the derivatives market size, but it's valued over a quadrillion, and with the OTC market alone accounting for about 632 trillion. That is by June 2022. And of course, there are other exchange traded derivatives as well. So we use derivatives for hedging our positions against unexpected market downturns, and of course identify price mismatches, which we call arbitrage. And there is always a misconception about derivatives, about how derivatives are used. Some people have used derivatives for speculation purposes, which is a bit risky. But as a fund, we don't speculate because we are regulated, and of course we are conscious about risk management for a fund. So what do you benefit? How do you benefit when you invest in Mansax Fund? First of all, there's Kenyan expertise. Our team comprises skilled investment professionals who have a deep understanding of the Kenyan market. We are uniquely positioned to identify and capitalize on opportunities that properly align with the country's growth trajectory, leveraging our local knowledge and expertise to your advantage. So when it comes to the local market, we are properly positioned to bring you the best. Then there's a global reach. Okay, so by investing in a range of global asset classes that I've mentioned, we offer you exposure to markets beyond Kenyan borders, and that one touches on diversification, geographical diversification. This approach allows you to benefit from growth potential of different industries and regions, thereby reducing the impact of any specific market fluctuations. So this diversification and risk management. So investing in a single asset class, for example, or relying solely on one geographical location can be risky, of course. Our fund, what Mansax does is it provides you with the advantage of diversification across various global markets, reducing the impact of volatility and enhancing long-term stability of the investment of the fund. Okay, so of course that local presence is very critical. You can walk into our office, a physical office in Kenya, and engage with financial advisors, and also engage with the portfolio management team. Of course, the other benefit you get, of course, is a group of dedicated financial advisors who are on standby to answer your questions and take you through the fund and understand the how this fund can be used to enhance or optimize the performance of your current investment portfolio. Okay, because we normally take our team through training. Most of the financial advisors that you meet at SIB are CC qualified, and that gives them the knowledge and the expertise they require to be able to advise you accordingly in terms of how the fund can be used to help you diversify your portfolio into global markets. So it comes to risk management, of course. We're able to look at, of course, when you invest, there are risks, but what you need to understand is how do you mitigate risk? And our team is very well equipped to be able to manage risk. And as you're going to see from our track record, you'll be able to see is nowhere we've recorded a negative quarter. We've always been on the positive. So we, based on our governance structure and of course the regulatory oversight, we have a well-defined investment process. And then of course the team sets asset class limits. You can't be so heavy on one particular asset class that has a potential of exposing us too much. Of course, sector, industry, and geography limits. That's talk about diversification. Again, you can have sector-wise diversification, industry diversification, also geographical diversification. That keeps the fund away from risk. So when talk about risk-adjusted returns, this is what essentially drives that. So dealer limits, every dealer has got own limits, intra and overnight limits. There's an investment committee that oversees the trading strategy week on week to be able to ensure that we rebalance the portfolio if there's a need based on the market conditions. Of course, regular regulator audits. I think we are the most heavily regulated fund right now, and we've been able to prove that this is a worthy considering investment vehicle to optimize the performance of your investment portfolio. So, showing results, of course, what have we been able to do? What is our track record? Q1 2023, just concluded Q1 of 2023. We had an actual 3-month return of 3.99, that's annualized 15.96. And then if you look at our 51-month performance, we might talk so much about what you are going to do, but based on what we've done, of course, past performance is not an indicator of future performance, but you can tell how well we'll be able to do in case we are faced with similar market conditions in the future with a more seasoned approach. So the average quarterly performance of a fund is at 4.28%. That translates to about 17.12%. And please note, this is net return, it's not a gross. So when you're evaluating fund performance, when you are looking for an investment opportunity, you first of all look at the charges, you look at the taxes, and also the inflation factor. So if I give you a return of 17%, if you adjust for inflation, if you adjust for tax and everything else, you can see you're always way above the market average. And that being above the market average is what brings about capital growth. Okay, so because if I give you a return of, let's say 10%, inflation around March was about 9.2, and I think in April it went down a little bit. So if you adjust for inflation, let's say even it's 8%, at a return of 10%, and you adjust for inflation, it's about 2%. Then with holding tax and everything else, you realize that you're typically maybe having the same value you had 1 year ago, and therefore there is need to look at an opportunity that enables you to get above market average returns. So for an investor who put 1 million back in 2019, this was about 15th January 2019. As at Q1 this year, these clients and actually doubled the initial capital investment. So the question is, what was your investment looking like back in 2019? Has it doubled in value? Has it tripled in value? Or has it remained the same? If you adjust for inflation, for example, say minus 7%, where are you and how is it performing? Does it look very good? So that's should drive you to actually be able to consider a fund that enables you to diversify your portfolio and potentially double your investment in the next 4 or 5 years. So I'm sure 4 years is not a get rich quick thing. Yeah, 4 years is quite some time when it comes to investments. We are talking about a full election cycle in the US, for example. So for the fund, for the dollar fund, we were able to get 13.52. That's 3.38%. I want the audience to take note that this is based on a fund that is relatively young, 6 months, because we started in September. Those are 2 quarters. So, but you can see the potential is quite huge because most of the funds will give about 3-4% per annum. You can see Nakuru able to get a 3.38%. Of course, leveraging on the dollar strength and all that kind of stuff. So this is our track record. This is our performance report for the dollar fund the last 2 quarters. So someone who invested 10,000 USD was able to make 574 USD. That is net return. When we talk about net return, that has been adjusted for the charges and taxation. This is the actual return to the client. Okay. So what exactly did we invest in as a fund to get those kind of returns? So we put money in fixed income. The DAX index, which is a stock index that tracks top companies in Germany. There is Euro Stocks 50 index, natural gas. There is a currency called Swiss franc, and then Old Dominion Fretlin, and for the dollar fund as well, you can see there's an overlap there, but some different asset classes like sugar, which is a NASDAQ 100, which is an index that tracks the top 100 tech stocks. So if you look at return on Mansa-X compared to other investments, you can see we've been an outlier, and it's a very deliberate strategy to be able to always outperform the local asset classes. That's where we went to look for greener pastures. So Mansa-X is looking for that, just like a doctor in the US is paid more maybe than a doctor in Kenya. So an investor in Mansa-X is be able to reap better return on investment by taking advantage of the various investment opportunities that I mentioned, by leveraging on various asset classes and the various geographies, because there are always opportunities sprouting in the global markets, and a portfolio manager with a keen eye is able to identify those opportunities and generate alpha returns. So I will take the questions as they come in the interest of time. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and if you have any questions, you can type them and we'll be able to respond to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Arnold, if you can make Rosemary co-host. Well done, Victor. Colleagues, bear with us when we restrict entry. People who come in just with phone names, we are not letting in. But please, if you can let this moderator, Rosemary, take place. Perhaps in the interest of time, we may have to shorten maybe to 4 or 5 minutes our other speakers so that some questions or comments can also be received. Rosemary, if you are able to unmute, please. So you can withdraw the right co-host from Victor.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Karibu.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Victor Marangwa. You've even given us more security, at least in terms of just making sure that our discussion goes seamless without being interfered with a third party. I didn't want to interrupt while you were speaking because it was flowing so well. Was even like in a math class. I mean, just building that trust and confidence so that people can get the residual income. Money works for you while you sleep. I wanted to invite and welcome everybody who has come in. As Dr. Chodho has said, we are controlling who now comes in. If you are trying to join or you're telling your friends, please just tell them to show up with their 2 IDs, with their 2 names. But please retweet, go on your social media handle, retweet, it's on KDA, just retweet and say that it's happening now. Over to you, Gloria. Can you unmute Gloria? to introduce the next guest, Gloria Thiambo. I am muting so that Gloria can take over. Pole for this inconvenience, but we just need these controls.
Thank you so much, Rosemary, and thank you, Mr. Victor. That was a very powerful presentation. To everyone joining us, karibuni sana, and we thank you for joining despite it being late. So our second speaker is the President for Africa Diaspora Business Roundtable in Washington, D.C., Dr. Michael Beach. I hope I got the name correct. Dr. Michael, karibu sana.
Malcolm, yes, Malcolm.
Dr. Malcolm.
So you can make it him co-host, please, Arnold, Dr. Malcolm. We can also stop screen share for now.
And Mr. Victor can stop presenting, please.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Malcolm. Welcome, Mr. President.
Okay, hi. I think we have a few little problems, but we're okay. Everything is good. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people, when they start saving, the first issue is you should save enough money for your own emergency things that may happen. And then you should save enough money to maintain your existence for about 6 to 9 months. After you take care of those things, then you can look to other ways to actually, create a larger sum of money for yourself. And then investing in small business activities can be one of those things. You should probably look at some of the safer businesses or safer ways of actually saving money. You look at a bank and a bank says they have bonds that might be available. And you have short-term bonds at 90 days and longer-term bonds that go from 12 to 5 years, 12 months to 5 years. And so these are some other things that you can do when you're building your portfolio. You try to get yourself in a position of not worrying about your money all the time. But if you want to actually make more money, you try to set a level, like how much am I trying to make? What rate of return? That's the interest that you may earn by leaving your money in a bank. And like I said, some banks, they pay anywhere from 8% to 12%, depending on how long of a time that you actually leave the money in the bank. But when we talk about small businesses, now this is where it gets a little tricky. You would want to hopefully only invest in people that you know. But small businesses need money, and we try to find different ways to invest in small business. You can invest in small businesses individually, one small business at a time, or you can invest in a group, because there's a couple of different businesses that have a group investment scheme where 5 or 6 people may get together and all of them contribute money on a monthly basis to a pool of money. And you may get involved in one of those situations. But once again, hopefully you will try to find those people that you know and set your tolerance for risk, as low as you possibly can, because with any kind of small business, there's always an opportunity for things not to work out according to plan. Now, there's another type of investment that, I guess KDA has looked at, and that is an investment group, an investment club. That's where you would put in a certain amount of money over a period of time and begin to allow the board of directors to make recommendations as to where to actually put the money in the investment group. They would, depends on how things are, you know, whether they're conservative or whether they're a little more risk, I won't say risk averse, but they try to keep, you know, it's like a group decision. You know, the group will decide, are these the safest investments to make for your money? All kinds of investments on those kind of levels, we're saying you probably should be patient. Become a patient investor, which means that, you know, plan to leave your money in the group for 12 to 24 months. It's not the kind of thing that you can get your money out every 2 weeks. You put it in 1 week and you say, oh, I got to get it out now. Well, that's not going to work for you or for the other members of the group. They might even have a penalty. You might lose money if you take your money out before the time that's agreed. But all kinds of investments that you put in to small businesses, it creates a greater return for the people in Kenya. Because a lot of times these businesses don't have too many other places to turn in terms of getting money. Most times they need money for inventory. Most retail businesses, they make money out of the inventory. They make money on what they sell. So you have to have something to sell in order to make the money. And so, you know, as you would be a patient investor, that would give them a lot more opportunity to build up their inventory, and then they would make a profit and be able to repay you based on your agreed upon return on investments. So those are some general things for small business and small investment opportunities. Certainly, if you've got some questions, we could talk about them, and I'll try my best to answer some of those questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Beach. It's always just wonderful hearing you talk. Yeah. Folks, please prepare your questions. We are probably racing through because we'd like to hear most of the speakers, other than Victor, who gave us really an overview of SIB. And I hope, you know, at least your trust and confidence is building up, surely, but slowly but surely. Engineer Pastor Peter Miner, I want to acknowledge you in, you know, your presence, you're always very supportive. Professor Misheka, karibu sana. Na nyote karibuni, I can see new people, kina Carol, Chelangat, FK Mugo, Damaris, Ogonji, Eunice. I'm acknowledging my sisters too. Thank you very much. The topic of discussion is how to invest in the cryptocurrencies, global markets, unit trusts, just to do investments. And this is a series that KDA started early this year. We welcome your ideas in terms of the direction we should be going for those who are in the diaspora and those who have relatives, those who have families. This is the way to go. KDA at least does due diligence before you can, you know, deal with anybody, so that you don't complain later on, oh, nilikuwa swindled ama mambo kama hii. Please don't forget to check with KDA, their website. They have a lot of information in terms of who, where one can invest. Sasa twende kwa kina dada. Author Margaret, are you ready? If you can unmute and please go ahead. Author Margaret Kimani. In the apps, you know, we are rushing through. I think, yeah. Oh, there. I know most people are having problems because we really controlling. So let me give up my rights as, you know, and mute myself so that you can go ahead. Karibu sana, my dear sister.
Thank you. And I want to just acknowledge and all protocols observed. Thank you for this opportunity. I know the time is always very short when you're talking about exciting stuff, especially investments back home, but all protocols observed. Good morning, good night, good for some of us. And wherever you are, I want to send a shout out to all of you, even for tuning in at this time. I will go straight to the ask because I'm an investment banker, so I am very privileged to. I'm always preaching diversity. Many of you know that I was in commercial banking for a long time, for a few years here in Kenya, but I started in Wall Street. So today, for the sake of this seminar, I want to dwell on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. I know my colleague Victor, we happen to be in the same investment banking, has spoken about the global funds. But for the sake of the time given, I want to specialize and just put my focus on the NSE. And maybe the first thing I should maybe talk about, and for me, I decided I was very deliberate that I will not do a PowerPoint. Because I find that the reason many of us, and I know many of you will agree, the reason many of us are usually scared of investing is because some of the jargons we use can seem a bit intimidating. So and usually thank God for simplicity that I can use. So when you invest in the NSE, Nairobi Stock Exchange, Securities Exchange, we've changed the name over the years. Why would somebody want to invest in the stock exchange? Especially our Nairobi. I know Dr. Ochodo has, at the beginning, and Rosemary, you said it very well. Many of us are looking where, when we are abroad, while we are still abroad, we want to put our money somewhere where we can, first of all, have transparency, somewhere we can have advice. And at the end of the day, all of us are looking to make an extra, return on investment that you can put your money and get some returns on it. So usually, we are encouraging that, when you invest in the NSE, many of us in the diaspora, because I was in the commercial banking for a long time, I know many of us like investing in land, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, remember, NSE gives you liquidity because when you buy a stock, when you buy solid stocks, and that is why the investment advisors come handy, or your investment bankers or your stock brokerage. When you invest in the NSE, you're also investing back home in some of the companies that you might not be, you're buying a share. Secondly, other than the diversification and the ability to own a share, what that gives you is that you're able to actually also get involved in their, in their dividends when they issue dividends. If obviously the goal here is to also advise you to invest in companies that can give you a capital appreciation. I'll give an example. Right now, as we speak, by the way, I'm logging in from Nairobi, beautiful Nairobi, Kenya. Right now, as we speak, the stock market, and allow me not to use this NSE because people, when they hear NSE, first of all, there's already something, it's very complex. There's already that notion. So right now, we say in the investment banking world, it's a buyer's market. And I think this conversation we're having is very timely. Right now, as we all know, recession is ongoing and it's global. It's not just here in Kenya, everywhere, food prices, inflation is actually at its highest. And we know that many of the stocks, of course, usually the stock market, I think you guys know this graph, just like a plane, goes up, goes down. But because of the market conditions and the recession in the world, obviously the stocks have dipped. And this is the best time to invest in the stock market, I can tell you guys. And of course, I'm not here campaigning and saying people should blindly, people should not blindly invest in the stock market, because what has happened, and I remember I was in Boston, Massachusetts, when Safaricom issued an IPO. And many people, I think it was for a long time, it was one of those that was very highly marketed. And of course, there was a lot of excitement being a telco, one of the major telco. And I remember many Kenyans bought Safaricom. And if you ask some of those people who invested until today, they'll tell you, no, never again in the stock market. Why? Because when you invest in the stock, there are three things you have to look at: the timing, sorry, the timing of when you're buying, it's very important. We always say that you want to buy low and sell high. So, and that's why I'm emphasizing that if there's a time you ever wanted to buy, to invest in the stock market, this would be the best time to get, because as opposed to the normal time when the stock is going up, you don't want to buy when the stock is already up too high in the, the pricing. Secondly, also, it's very important, and I think that's why some of us are certified financial advisors, that you look at your investment goal. Not everyone, let's be honest, can invest in the stock market. We know that there's a bit of, information that obviously is involved. And we also look at the age, of course. We look at your investment, your risk appetite. We look at your objective. I might not have a lot of time to, to go into the depth of, like every stock, but I want to, assure people and encourage people that there are about over 60 stocks in the, Nairobi Securities Exchange. And us guys who, left Kenya and went abroad, I'll give you an example. Now, if you look at different sectors, there's the agricultural sector, there's the banking sector, which has a lot of, stocks that are, doing quite well. We have the telco, of course, the Safaricoms of the world. We have manufacturing companies. When you look at all those sectors, if, for example, obviously, if you're looking to invest, it will be very good that you also look at stocks that actually meet your need and also meet your investment, risk appetite. I want to say here that obviously Victor has done a very good presentation, and it's good because when you're building up your stock, there's an element when we're advising you, and when you have a stockbroker, very good stockbroker, that will be helping you. And even every week you should be able to review, or every month, depending on your schedule, because some of us are in the diaspora, many of us are in the diaspora. It will be good to keep reviewing your stock and start small. A lot of us, by the way, there's a notion of you have to have a lot of millions of shillings, for you to actually, start investing. Start small. That way, by the time, Victor, I think there's a slide he did where, for Mansa X, you need to have a minimum of 250,000 shillings, which is equivalent to, $2,000 and $500. So you can imagine, unless you now start investing in the Nairobi Stock Exchange or other investments, it will be good that you start investing, build your portfolio. Of course, receive the dividends, because every year the good, solid companies that are doing well always obviously issue dividends. And as you build your portfolio in a few months and in a few years, you're able to also start. Of course, you're gaining knowledge on how NSE, on how stock markets work, and you can also participate in other global funds. My other thing that I would want to talk about is the liquidity. This is something I think if you understand the trick of investing, you would love it. Right now in Kenya, I am heavily involved even with the regulators, and a lot of times you find that you can buy a stock now. Make sure that you're selling at the right time. Very important, guys. Sometimes we buy stocks and we even forgot that we own it. And then when certain events happen, like a different corporate action happen, it's when you remember, oh, by the way, I own Safaricom or I own East African Breweries. And maybe perhaps that is the wrong time to sell. So always, it's very important that you keep in touch with the market. You don't have to be a guru in this, by the way. You can keep in touch. Myself, I'll give my contacts, as soon as I'm done, because I know we have a few other speakers on board. But if you obviously track the market, the liquidity is so good because we call it T+2. You can actually, when you want your money back, there's no waiting time that you obviously have to wait. I know certain funds require you to lock the money for 6 months, but if your timing is right and you've made your money, usually the liquidity is very good and you're able to get your money. You can actually sell shares. And that's why when we are advising you, we always advise you to buy liquid stocks. stocks that are obviously trading on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, and also the other thing that the regulator has been very good, and the Capital Markets Authority, many of us have been championing, innovation, and many of the stock brokers, by the way, unlike some of the fund managers, many of the stock brokers now are even allowing you, I know many of you call home and you have these bonga points, they are even allowing you to use bonga points to buy shares. That is, I think this is a very big deal. Thirdly, in terms of liquidity, you'll also have access to an app. If you contact me, you'll also have access to apps that are able to, many of you, I know one of the challenges from my past experience, even myself, in the past, I remember when I first started trading in Kenya, my God, you had to actually send your relatives to go to a stockbroker. Those days are gone, guys. You have an app that you can download yourself. There's obviously our consent form where, like personally, when the customers, all the global customers we have, is a consent form you send, you email it back, there's email indemnity, and you download the app, you can access, you can even see how the pricing, for example, on Friday, it was a trading day. Tomorrow, tomorrow Kenyan time, the market will open. You can actually access that. Remember, we have a time difference. And this is very important because many of us—
1 minute,
sure,
my sister.
Yes, sure. Many of us, one of the things that discourage us from trading is access, access to even what is going on with my portfolio. So I will, I'll encourage you guys. I know last time I said this, and as I wind up, I want to say that building your stock stock portfolio is very possible. The NSE offers many opportunities, including bonds. Yeah, for some of us who are not able to invest in the NSE, depending on your risk appetite, bonds, treasury bills are also, they are also an opportunity for you. So please reach out. I'm gonna leave my contacts here. We can actually have a one-on-one so that I understand your needs, and also advise you accurately, and guide you even on the app and the stock brokerage option and how we open your CDSC account. Because for you to trade, obviously, you'll need a CDSC account. So take care, guys, and over to you, Dr. Ochuodo or Rosemary.
Thank you so much, author Margaret Kimani. Like I said, really, your talk is contagious. I mean, you make it so simple for any average person to really understand. And you've been in both worlds, worked in a bank, lived in Boston, and here you are in Kenya. My push has always been, why are most Kenyans still fearful? I think we must be risk averse, as Dr. Malcolm Beecher said, but, take risks, do it for your children, your grandchildren, or family and friends, so that at least waanze kupata kitu, as I said, you buy stocks, you do this, and you folks who are, gurus at this will be working it for us while we sleep, as they say, for our residual income. Thank you so much. Please keep bringing your questions, write them on the chat. We'll go there next. But right now, allow me to introduce Anne Gaither, who is the CEO of Regal Africa. Anne, please unmute. Take it away. Can you give Anne rights? Unajua we are controlling, so I don't know if she has rights to be able to unmute herself. Please unmute her so that she can speak.
Okay, thank you, Rosemary. I finally got the right to, all right, I think you can see me. All right, hello everyone. My name is Anne Wamboy-Gaither, and I'm very excited about this topic today. I feel that it's very timely that we're having this discussion because I totally believe in what KDA is doing, which is say that the diaspora is a very, very, very important segment that we cannot forget about, because if we want the growth of Africa, we cannot forget the Africa diaspora. And we have to connect the Africa diaspora with us who left, went to the diaspora and came back, right? Because we know both worlds. So for me, I'm very passionate about helping Africans around the world to actually create wealth. And we say the only sustainable way to create wealth is actually through trade and investment. So that is what I will be talking about today and the work that we do at Regal Africa. I won't take too much of your time because I know we are short of time, but I'll just give you an overview. So for us at Regal Africa, we basically help our clients, whether it's families, organizations, or government, to create generational wealth. We've seen that a lot of people are always focused on short-term savings. Everyone is thinking about a SACCO. Everyone is thinking about buying plots. They never think about the next generation. And we have to go beyond plots and SACCOs. We really need to start thinking about passive income for the next generation. I tell people, for people in the diaspora, your children will not inherit your jobs, but they'll inherit your business, they'll inherit your investment. So you really need to focus on that. So for us at Regal Africa, we positioned ourselves as the go-to distribution channel for the best real estate and professionally managed investments in the marketplace in Kenya and East Africa. So if you're looking to invest in Uganda, we can help you. Tanzania, Rwanda, so that is where we play. And so for the last 8 years, that's what we've been doing. We do a lot of due diligence on the companies that we partner with, and we make sure they have a track record so that we understand, do they have good management, good governance, are they able to deliver? Because returns are not the only thing you need to look at, right? You have to look at everything in totality, right? The reason we tell the diaspora to focus on professional money managers is because these companies are regulated, they're licensed by the government. And in Kenya, we're talking about the Capital Markets Authority, right? So the fund managers, the investment banks like SIB, stockbrokers, investment advisors. These are people who do this every day, right? You're in the diaspora, you're doing the work that you're doing. You don't have time to be watching the market. These people in SIB are watching the market. So why don't you let them do their job, right? You make the money and they invest for you, only if they're trustworthy. So if they're regulated by CMA, at least it gives you a little bit of assurance, right? So what we have done at Regal Africa, we've set up the Regal Gold Digital Wealth Platform, where now we assist our clients from all over the world to access professionally managed investments and pension. So we work with 7 of the fund managers and REIT managers in Kenya. So when people come to Regal Africa, they're like, where do I invest, right? How do I invest? What is the first step? And for us at Regal Gold, basically, it's a free platform. It is free because we do it digitally. So you fill out this form on Google, we send you the information all online. But if you want to speak to a wealth advisor, then there are charges to that. But the initial engagement is absolutely free. So we work with Nabo Capital, CIC, ICL, just basically all the 7 fund managers. And the difference they have is for different things. For example, you can open a money market with ICL at 500 shillings. But Nabo Capital minimum is right? So if you come to me with 10,000, I would not put you in Nabo, right? I would put you in something else. So there are different nuances with each of these fund managers. So our job is to keep track of what's going on, and then we advise accordingly. So when we are talking to the diaspora, we are saying you need to actually look at various options, professionally managed, right? So we are looking at money market funds. Rosemary mentioned that in Kenya, we don't trust. We're very conservative. So after doing this for many years, I was a banker in the US, I came in here, I did investment banking, investment management. I realized we are very conservative. And that's at the beginning. But once we build trust with these institutions, then people are willing to take the chance, right? So we specialize in money market funds, fixed income investments. Basically, that's just saying you put money and you'll be able to get it within 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Money markets, you can deposit anytime, withdraw anytime. So depending on what your goals are, we can be able to advise accordingly. For us at Regal Africa, we know Kenyans love real estate, but one of the things people have not understood understood and if you'd like to understand more, reach out to us on what we call real estate investment funds, right? So it means you're investing in real estate, especially commercially backed real estate. You're investing in office buildings, in malls, that kind of thing, but you're not necessarily the person who took all that capital to invest in it. You're owning a share of this particular organization. So that is what I'm telling the diaspora. You don't only have to invest in a plot. You can invest in real estate indirectly through a REIT. In Kenya, we have two REITs, right? So we have the Fahari REIT by ICA Lion, which you can buy through the stock exchange. But then there's now the Acorn, who we work with, which is an over-the-counter, and you can be able to invest through us, and we can be able to advise you accordingly. I also noticed from a lot of our diaspora clients, especially those who left Kenya after they started working, they have pension, but they don't even know where they are, right? So we always encourage people to consolidate their pensions and put it in a personal pension. And if they're near retirement, we have something called income drawdowns. Basically, my point here is you want to work with professional money managers who look at your money day to day, and the chances of them getting you a better return are higher than you trying to do it yourself and you're in Boston. Like, it's not going to happen, right? So you want to be very smart about how you make money. Make money in the diaspora, but when you come to Kenya, if you cannot do something day to day, leave it to the professional, right? I wanted to share this because whenever I talk to people in the diaspora, I tell them time is your friend. And I always say that all of us, I know my goal has always been to be a billionaire and more, right? So I always say, if you want to be a dollar, right? Simple, right? I did a quick calculation with SIB. They're able to double their clients' money within 4 years, which I used something called the rule of 72. And I looked at the average return of 18% per annum, which is really, really good, which tells you that real estate is not for you to make money, right? And the reason I bring that at 18%, you would be able to make a lot more money than if you just put it in a SACCO or into a savings account, right? Now, if you look at this timeline, if you only put this money in Kenya shillings, but I'll put it in dollars. If you put $500, which I believe many of us in the diaspora can do, it will take you years to be a dollar millionaire, right? $500 is easy to do, right? That means don't stop putting money in your 401k or your pension plans that you have wherever you are. This is just extra money, right? If you decide to put up 1,020 years, if you're like me, who by the time I was going, I told myself I would take 15 years in the States and then come back home. All you needed to do is put aside 2,000. In 15 years, you'll have $1 million, right? So if you're a family, your wife puts aside 1,000, you put aside 1,000, 2,000, you're looking to make at least 12% per annum, you would be a millionaire in 15 years. You come back to Kenya and you live the best life. So it is possible. You just need to be very intentional and work with professionals who will be able to advise you accordingly. So again, people always ask, why professional money managers? I tell the diaspora, you've been burnt. You've been burnt by your family. You've been burnt by so-called friends, and it hasn't worked. So you've lived in the diaspora, you know that when you pay somebody, you have a fiduciary responsibility to do the right thing. So why not use them, right? So that is something I really want to highlight. You want to work with people who know what it is. That thing that I always say, you want to work as a collective, the African way, okay? This was not part of the unit trust, but I do have to say I regularly work with real estate, but our focus really is on cash flow based real estate, right? So beyond plot, you can actually buy cash flow based real estate, and that's something we can discuss in the future. For us, we're very passionate about diaspora engagement because we say economic prosperity of Africa and Kenya specifically will only happen if we engage together. So if we put money, for example, in real estate, which we specialize, if you put money, as Dr. Malcolm Bridge talks about, in businesses, you make money, you create wealth for yourself and your family, and you're part of Africa transformation. So thank you very much, KDA, for giving me this opportunity to share what it is that we do at Regal Africa and why working with professionals is very important for the diaspora. Thank you very much. Stop sharing.
Gloria. Gloria, are you able to unmute?
Maybe go ahead for now.
No. In the interest of time, I'll just go ahead. Really, we are getting a lot of information. I've worked with Anne, and I can, vouch for her because, even just in terms of her advice on where to invest from real estate to creating wealth. Thank you, my sister, for holding our hand, and I hope you also have a good customer service. I think to me, customer service is very, very important because walk somebody as though they are 6-year-old or 13-year-old or something like that, so that at least that trust, you are laying their fears, and also at the same time, they start seeing something. They start seeing some little dividend, in terms of their investments. Like you said, most Kenyans are very, very conservative. We are not loud, like our neighbors or other people in other parts of Africa, but, we make things work. Our space in Kenya, it's an enabling environment. We make enough makelele. I was talking to a friend of mine who was in New York, Dr. Linda Musumba, and I was saying, we can demonstrate, we can do this, but today is not a day for politics. We are talking about investment in money market. We are talking about investment in global markets. We are talking about investment in cryptocurrencies and unit trusts. And talking about cryptocurrencies, that word, unajua, people are talking about, I don't want to mention any of them, but there were things like, was it Ethereum, nini. People are always very, very worried about those sort of things. I'm hoping at least, Victor, you can come back and tell us a little bit more. We have a couple of questions that have been, I've received from people just who are not able to access, and they want to hear certain areas on what CIB is doing. But without much ado, allow me to welcome my dear sister, Charity Githinji. I don't know if Charity you're in Nairobi now or still in Arusha. I think now we are all headed to the festival very soon, if I'm not mistaken. Karibu sana, Charity. Charity, you are able to unmute.
Good evening, Rosemary. Thank you so much, and Daktari. We look forward to meeting all of you in Arusha very, very soon. I know it's very late, so I'll try and keep it as short as possible. Short and sweet, but I'm happy to have heard from my dear friend, Victor. We all speak in the same language. I'd like to share my screen and just take you through very, very quickly, if that is in order. Hello, Rosemary.
Yeah, I think you have share rights as co-host.
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, it's taking me quite a bit of time for some reason. So, Dari, I just beg to proceed. Mine is very, very short. I will talk about, I'm happy to have heard from Victor on when we're talking about the global markets, because really that's what we do. I'm a Forex trader for the last 4 years, been dealing with the currencies, commodities, indices, options, cryptos, and NFTs. So those are things that we're already trading, but I'll be very honest with you, having a company like SIB that can trade for you if you're in the diaspora and don't have time to learn would be the best thing. But I personally trade, and I'm also in the hospitality industry. And during the Corona time, I was actually able to make my money from trading. That is how I lived, and trading is part and parcel of what I do. So, looking at who's trading, banks are trading, retailers like us are trading, governments and hedge funds are also trading. So, looking at why you need to become a good trader, one is skill acquisition, the education and mentorship. I'm just looking at it from a broader perspective before I go into cryptos. You are looking at risk management. How do you manage your risk? How much are you ready to lose? Is it 1% of your account? Is it 2% of your account? Trade on demo fast. Don't come in with a mindset of making money quickly. That doesn't work at any one given time. And that's why you see Victor is telling you you'll expect a return of say 13% on the dollar, or Anne is saying you'll expect an 18% return on what you put in. So don't come in looking at making money very, very quickly. There are tools that you'll use, but now looking at cryptocurrency, which is a digital currency, I look at it like the way Safaricom started off M-Pesa. A lot of people resisted, and they're like, oh, we don't want to use M-Pesa. But today, M-Pesa is global. So same case, the digital currency. A lot of people are very hesitant in terms of using digital currency. But I will assure you, me from a personal perspective, I have not lost money on digital currency because I don't look at it as a short-term investment, but I look at it as a long-term investment. If you look at the Bitcoin in the last 2 years, Bitcoin went really, really low, but now it's on an upward trajectory. So we are looking at possibly Bitcoin tripling in the next 3 years. So what that means is when you come on board, don't come on board looking at making money quickly. Looking at cryptocurrency, and why there's a lot of fear on cryptocurrency is because it's decentralized, because it uses blockchain. And people are not able to, manage it like the way banks are managed by central banks. So that is the reason why a lot of people are very hesitant about Bitcoin. But again, I would call it cryptocurrency because there are thousands of cryptocurrencies, but a lot of people only think about maybe Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin. And those are and cryptocurrencies are also very volatile currencies. So looking at what is happening in the world right now, you will realize that out of most of the international countries, it's only Japan that has embraced cryptocurrency, looking at the international markets. So the others like China, the US, I would say that they embrace it, Shingo Upande, and others really don't embrace cryptocurrency completely. But Japan has embraced it from 2017, and it's legal tender in Japan. So, and China the other day also launched their own crypto. So by the time they're launching their own crypto, they know what they're doing. Okay, and then looking at the African perspective, South Africa has embraced digital currency and people are able to trade. In Kenya, our own local space, our central bank has said, okay, review, look at it. They've not embraced it fully, but neither have they stopped the Kenyans from trading in cryptocurrency. And if you go to the exchange, you're able to trade, you're able to change your Bitcoin or whichever other cryptos that you're looking at. So we're still able to operate as Kenya in terms of cryptocurrencies, and it's very easy. I think at even one point we had a transaction with Daktari whereby we're pushing money from one country to the other, and with cryptocurrency it just takes minutes, you change the money, and within minutes you have your money in M-Pesa, or somebody can send it to your bank account, whatever it is that you choose. So it's just a matter of us understanding digital currencies. And from, again, now the Bitcoins or the cryptocurrencies, we move to what you call DeFi's, decentralized platforms, the pancakes, the swaps, where you're able, again, to trade. And you're trading without intermediaries like banks. So you're doing your peer-to-peer, and you are able to, that's through technology. So you're able to, say, trade two currencies at the same time, creating what you call liquidity pools. And from the liquidity pools and transactions, you're able to double your money in a huge way and in a shorter time. But at the same time, you're also able to follow the integrity of the whole system process. So it's nothing that is hidden. It is open. You can be able to follow and see where your money is, what it's doing at any one given point. So from the digital currency that we looked at in terms of the cryptocurrencies, we've now moved on to the DeFi's, which are the decentralized exchanges. And now we are creating liquidity pools and moving on to NFTs, whereby you can be able to come on board as an artist possibly and be able to create a piece of art and put it on the blockchain. And the blockchain is where all these liquidity pools and the DeFi's and the cryptocurrencies are operating from, and you're able to sell your art. So there's quite a lot of diversity in terms of the cryptocurrencies or the digital space or the digital currencies where that is concerned. And this is information that I can always be ready to give. But one thing I'd also like to highlight is that when you're trading online, whether it's on cryptocurrencies or whether you're doing your indices, be they synthetic indices or be they the regular indices, like I love trading on German 30 and US 30. Those are spaces that you make your money because of high volatility. You must understand that advantages that we have trading online is that, one, there's accessibility of the markets. There's lower costs of trading. You have real-time information on what's going on in the financial world. And some people choose to have automated trading, although again, that's a preference because people trade differently. There are those who will trade for shorter terms and there are those who will trade for longer terms. And I am sure people like Victor at SIB, they have their trading units and they have traders who come on board, and you have your swing trades or you could be scalping, whether it's on cryptocurrency, whether it's on the indices, or whether it's commodities or just the regular Forex. But then again, if you're trading in as an individual, one, you must have the education. You can't just come in and trade and think you're going to do some abracadabra thing going on. You must understand the markets. You must get educated. So it's not something that you're going to start learning today and start trading tomorrow. That would be a lie. It's been a journey for me. I would say I started learning how to trade in 2018 because I wanted to do something that didn't necessitate me to do
1 minute, Sister Charity.
Okay, no worries. So I'll quickly go into realities of trading. One is that you'll not be able to learn the basics in a few days. Don't get greedy or get fearful about trading. Don't look at it as a gambling thing. Don't over leverage your account. Do not use your savings or money that you're not ready to use. Exercise patience and learn the skill. And then do not allow people to trade on your behalf. I know we in diaspora, you may find somebody online who tells you, I'll help you trade. Don't allow. You better learn slowly and learn the skill set and do it for yourself. And then there are no quick returns. So again, these are personal journey. So you can choose to learn how to trade cryptocurrencies, indices, options, commodities. I submit. Thank you so much, sir. I hand over to you, Rosemary or Dr. Ari.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Chwotho, did you have any interjections? Before I allow you to speak, allow me to just again welcome those who've joined us late. I know when we were hacked, a lot of people took off, so I encourage you to come back because the next session is now very, very interactive. Victor, our chief guest, please prepare. We have a couple of questions. But for the guest speakers, one of the things that I wanted just before Dr. Chwotho comes in is, do you have a question for each other? Anne Wamboi, do you have a question for Victor or Charity? Do you have a question for author Margaret Kimani? While you're thinking of that, just some sort of interjection, because my take home from what Charity has said are two things. You can trade by yourself. You can do it. You can learn. It's not rocket science, but it takes time. And also, overnight millionaire is not going to happen. Be patient. You will get there. You know, the journey starts somewhere. But you can't be sitting at home or holding on to your money or putting your money in the pillows and you think it will make dividends for you. And also, one of the things that Charity said is that from the presentation that Victor gave, really, if you are not, it's unfamiliar territory, go with the SIB. Go to an agency that does this as their core business and invest. Over to you, Dr. Chwotho.
Thank you so much, Dada Rosemary. Maybe you could take 2 or 3 questions from the chat because we're just about to close. It's been long. Obviously, we apologize. We did disconnect lots of people, particularly those who had only one name and we couldn't place. So we do apologize for that, but we think it's been extremely instructive and productive. But for now,
Dr. Chwotho seems to be stuck. I don't know what has happened there, but that as it may, I am looking at the questions. Charity, do you have a question for Victor? Anne, do you have a question for Victor or vice versa? But I'm going through the regal and probably you could quickly tell us very quickly. I know I've worked with you at personal level, but what's the process in terms of, you know, the little money that one may have and they want to come and start? How do they start the journey? I know you've been holding the WhatsApp meetings and people can ask questions, and your team and yourself have always been very quick. You know, just walk us through. Now, you know, one of the things that I always encourage, we start with our children. Because I mean, for some of us who have adult children, you want to leave something behind so it can continue generating itself. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Rosemary. I always tell people creating wealth is a very personal journey. You can't copy and paste what everyone is doing, right? So I know Margaret alluded earlier, which is to say you need to, of course, diversify your portfolio, right? And you need to balance many things. In fact, that's what we do at Regal Africa, right? So in this case, we work with professional money managers. So again, we identify people who are doing great things. Like we've seen, SIB is doing 18%, or that was their past track record, right? And then we look at others who've been doing the same thing. So for us, usually the first step for anyone who's looking to create wealth is to say, where are you? And where do you want to go, right? How much money do you want to make? Do you want to be a millionaire in 15 versus 25 years? Because whatever you want to go, the decisions that you're going to make are totally different, right? So you can't start investing if you don't know where you're going, right? And that's where we come in as wealth advisors. The beginning step, like I said, is going to Regal Gold, which I put on the chat. That's free, right? You come in, you answer a few questions, we understand your risk tolerance, how much money you want to invest. We ask a few questions to understand where you are, and then we share the information that we have actually looked into the market. And then from there, we advise you. Now, if you then want a more personal one-on-one engagement, then now you can speak to a wealth advisor, where now we charge for that particular service, right? So we are telling people the way you create wealth and sustainable wealth for generations to come, you can't take all your money and put it in SIB. You can't take all your money and put it in Forex. You can't take your money and put it all in NSC. Like you can't take all your money and put it in a money market. That's not how you win. You have to diversify your portfolio. So when you're diversifying your portfolio, how does that look like? So there are numbers that you're going to look at. There's a whole art science thing going on. And that's why you want to sit down with somebody who understands the numbers to take you from where you are to where you want to go. So for each of the speakers here, including Dr. Malcolm, I have engaged with them. I know what they're doing. They're specialists in what they're doing. We cannot forget the African entrepreneur. That is the work I've been championing for very many years, right? And we need to put money in their hands. We as the diaspora need to stop sending money home for consumption. That's not going to help us. You need to send money home for investment, right? And investment in productive industry, not plots. The only person it helps is the person who sold you that land. That's it. After that, try selling it now. Ain't nobody buying, nobody's buying it, right? So be wise. If you're buying land so that you build, that's very different. But if you're putting it for speculation, yeah, that's a conversation for another day. For me, Rosemary, mine was just a comment. You want to look at all these experts. If you think you have the time to understand Forex, go to Charity. If you don't think you have the time, you're busy working wherever you are, whether it's in Texas or California, then go to SIB, who will do it for you, right? So just know yourself, where you are, where you want to go, and find the professionals who can help you with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Chwotho, had you
Yes.
finished your line of thought? Because
No,
it kind of got, it got
yes.
corrupted. It got corrupted.
No, yeah, you're fine. Thanks for that. Actually, we are approaching the end. We have overstretched. Allow me to acknowledge the presence of Ruth Owino. Ruth is President, Association of Kenya Diaspora in Belgium and Luxembourg. We're glad you could be here, and many others. Maybe if you could permit just 30 seconds, Mzee Wakasi, Professor Micheka, and Engineer Maina, 30 seconds, then we close the meeting today, if you permit. So
yes,
Professor Micheka, 30 seconds, if you can be given the rights.
Yeah. Yes, allow Professor Micheka to speak, and also for Engineer Pastor Maina, Peter Maina. Arnold, you're able to do that? I would appreciate it. Professor Micheka.
Okay, if there is a challenge, then our keynote speaker could wrap up also 1.5 minutes. Victor.
I think Engineer Maina was about, I had just seen him unmute. Engineer, Pastor Peter Maina, can you unmute? Just, speak very briefly. Peter Maina. Yes, there we go. There you go. Now we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for such a very informative session. Actually, it was very captivating that I had to pull over by the side of the road before, because I realized I couldn't get home and not miss anything. But thank you so much, Dr. Chwotho and Rosemary, and the whole team at KDA and Nairobi for putting this together. We need to grow our economy. We need to pray to God to help us. He tells us, if you lack wisdom, ask him. He'll give it to us freely on how to grow the little wealth we have. Thank you for all the presenters, Margaret Kemani and Victor. I have already sent you my questions, and I took your email. I'll follow up with something, especially regarding the food security war on poverty bond that KDA and One Voice have proposed. It's a $30 billion bond. I don't know whether the Kenya government is going to buy it, but to buy the idea. But we have almost 12 members of parliament and senators who have liked the idea so far, and they promised to sell it to the government. And we get the diaspora around that, and to be an investment fund that everybody can tap into to push back against this enemy called poverty. It is not from God. The poverty we see from Kenya is an enemy, and we got to defeat it. I have already sent you a question, Victor, but we can follow it up next week. I can share some slides with you and converse further. Thank you, Dr. Ochodo and Rosemary.
Thank you, Reverend. Enjoy NJ weather. Yeah, maybe final word, Victor, please. 1.5 minutes.
Yes, for Victor, before Victor speaks, I have a couple of questions as you conclude in terms of wrapping up, and just reminding everybody, when you go on the chat, we have all the emails and phone numbers and contacts of the guest speakers. And also, if you're looking for the slide for the presentation today, any information, when you do info, probably Dr. Chodo, you can talk about the email. I believe it's info@kda.global.co.ke or com at the end. But anyway, hutapotea sana. So the questions I have for Victor are these as he makes his concluding remarks. Kindly clarify, in the event that the Kenya shilling did not depreciate, what would be the return deviations? The next question would be, I believe the US has an investment option called options under capital markets. Is it feasible in Kenya? Can you touch on this? And just other general questions where I would want probably Margaret to really make a very quick intervention for a second. How can we see the trends of the shares? As you said, we need to buy low and sell high. How can we get to analyze these trends? And for Charity, how do you change your cryptocurrency to local currency? Where is that done? How do you send cryptocurrencies? What is the process? How do people lose money in the crypto world? If you're not able to answer those questions now, please probably write them on the chat, and then they can be, addressed. But over to you, Victor. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Go straight to answering the questions and then give me a final remark. So someone asked, what if the Kenya shilling was more stable? Would we have such a return? The answer is still yes. We have an investment strategy to always outperform the local market average, because that is where we actually in business. Because if we don't give you a return which is above the market average, then you have no business actually investing in a fund like this, because there's no differentiation. So how do we do this? Because you realize that we've ventured into global markets, and we invest in global markets. We are not Kenya shilling denominated. We are denominated in the currencies in those particular markets, okay? So, and then when it comes to the Kenya shilling, either way the currency goes, we have risk mitigation measures to counter the currency risk. We're able to use derivatives, currency derivatives, to enable us to take positions that protect our positions. Because you can imagine if Kenya shilling moved from, for example, 134 to 90, there will be an upside of it. But if someone had purely pegged their portfolio just on currency, then that would be a problem. So the currency aspect is not the only issue, because we are looking at a multi-asset strategy fund. Is not only pegged on the performance of a certain currency pair, for example, the USD case. Okay, so someone also asked about the options trading. Options is part of the derivatives. There are 4 major derivatives. These are futures, forwards, options, and swaps. And options trading is actually one of the best in terms of risk management, because you're able to exercise or not exercise, because options give you the right but not obligation. Okay, so we use them to ensure that we're able to protect our positions. So if the market, for example, we enter gold at 1,500 USD per ounce, and gold goes to 3,000, then we don't have to honor the contract. We can just go and trade in the open market. But if the gold goes to for example, 1,000, that means there's a downside of like 500. Then we are able to go to a contract which guarantees our 1,500. So either way the markets go, you're covered. And that is where the aspect of capital preservation comes in. Thank you for the question. And I do want to appreciate this opportunity by the KDA. You guys are doing a fantastic job, and we want to be partnering this and come up and share ideas on how we can actually look at all those remittances that come into the country. Someone made a comment that diaspora remittances go to a pot that is endless. People are working so hard, sending the money, but they cannot see the effect of it. Your brother, your sister, whoever is, they're still waiting for you to send some more money. But how can we make sure that then whatever we've made continues growing and not being depleted? Thank you so much, and have a lovely day ahead, everyone.
Thank you greatly. As Sir Rosemary is muted, my final word. Do I go ahead, Sir Rosemary?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Doctor. Oh, no, Professor Misheka, I'm glad you've unmuted. Prof, please go ahead.
Please, really, I think this has been really a great opportunity. Some of the discussions we have really should go to even the youth in this country at times, so that they know what they should do. And I'm so glad that I attended this, and I'll be broadcasting it to some of my students at some point. Please keep us informed. Some of this we do know. When you hear about money getting lost in these long stories of money not being used properly, we don't get to understand. Thank you so much. And Shem, I'm in Arusha already. We'll meet and discuss some of these things when we are together. Thank you so much, Rosemary, and have a very, very nice weekend.
Professor Misheka, we don't take you for granted. That is really wonderful. Thank you so much. Mzee wa kazi, tunakushukuru sana, and luta continua. That aspect of youth is very close to my heart. Everybody, we keep talking about those statistics of the unemployed youth, na nini. Over to you, Dr. Chodho.
Thank you. Actually, a number of sectors I know have felt left out. Our Australian sisters and brothers keep saying, do this at other times from what you've been doing. We'll be accommodating everybody we can, inclusive as we can, addressing every key sector: education, investing in health, investing in blue economy, creatives industry, the mining sector, and almost all the sector, value addition, okay? And we will be addressing them every 2 weeks. So thank you so much. And of course, finally, just to apologize for, we learn every day in this tech world. We are more secure. SIB and your technical team, we can't thank you enough. We're in this journey together. Believe you me, for now, I don't know of a better product than Mansa X by Standard Investment Bank. And we'll be doing road shows across the world. Some already, Georgia, Atlanta next month with Unity Homes and our other partners. I can't thank you enough, co-moderators. Maybe finally you can thank the speakers. God bless. We'll be seeing you again soon. Over to you, Rosemary.
Thank you. My other co-host, Gloria Diambo, has been having internet challenges, so I wish to apologize on her behalf, but this has been wonderful. I know it's very late in Kenya, but really this is, this has been just a lot of information. My appeal to you is that, did you feel convinced today on the job that we did? Tunataka you evaluate us and you tell us, and also share even topics that we can, we can bring guests. The KDA has the capacity and the machinery to be able to get anybody to come and speak to you on topics that are very close to your heart, and to just buttress the point that both Professor Misheka and Engineer Pastor Peter Miner said. Let us try and do something, grow our economy at home, whether it is in blue economy, whether it is in, doing other things, food security. We all must eat today, tomorrow, and, and how do we generate work, manufacturing? What are the things that we are doing at home? What is your contribution? And my parting shot is that you in the diaspora or you at home, have you gone back to your primary school? Have you gone back to your high school just to touch base with them on how they are doing, kusema jambo, and to support them in whatever way you are able to, do in any small, big way? We appreciate you. We thank you. We thank you for your time being here, and I wish to apologize for the hacking that appeared earlier on. It wasn't our intention. We learn every day, as Dr. Chodho has said, or next time we'll do a better job with the security and everything. And Victor came in very handy to support us. SIB, we congratulate you. You've done very, very well. I hope you can come back again. This should not be the last time, but come back with a different spin and tell us how Mama Mboga and Boda Boda can reach you. You know, we are in the hustler government. So let's do the right thing. Let's walk the talk. Dr. Chodho, parting shot. Dr. Malcolm Beach, I can't forget our African president for the diaspora. You gave us very good information. And through Dr. Beach, really, one of the things that he said, other than tapping on our own diaspora, how are we connecting with our brothers, African Americans in the US and in the Caribbean? And some of them stretch as far as the Pacific Islands. So let's start thinking about year of the return for Kenya. It's never too late. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. Chodho.
Thank you and God bless. See you in Arusha tomorrow, Professor, inshallah, God willing, for Festac. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.
Shukran.
Good night.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.